Well, we're going to go through, it's a perfect segue, Daryl, into the A2B Tracking's RFID methodology on how to get successfully deployed in leveraging RFID in an environment. First of all, bear in mind that this method typically would assume that you're dealing with both some fixed reading and some mobile reading as part of your requirements. But what we first do is we go through what we call a discovery process directly with you. It's simply a phone call, maybe two if necessary, to review and discuss your requirements and the goals and objectives that you want to achieve with the technology. So we hear about the kinds of assets you're trying to track, the workflows that you're working every day in, the areas of exposure where items might grow legs and move to another location, or how much time you may be spending hunting down items and the frustration that's involved there and the wasted man hours involved there. Once we've done that and you have a good handle conceptually on the problems you're trying to solve, then we would recommend to go to a site visit. And for fixed infrastructure, this becomes critically important because we can then take measurements, we can assess physical areas and make sure that when it comes to read performance through egresses, dock doors, entryways, from one point to another, we can actually get a sense of how well those readers are going to perform, particularly with the kind of assets that you're trying to track. And we actually have RFID certified professionals that come on site to do that in order to deliver back to you a findings report, which is much more valuable than just providing you a bill of material with a bunch of hardware and software that then needs to be figured out how it works downstream. So we get ahead of that with the site visit, and the findings report is a very detailed feedback into how that RFID technology would work within your operations. Now from there we go to step 3, and then we share with you in this findings report, as I mentioned, a high-level design presenting the analysis and the solution design of the hardware, software, and even the tag types that are going to work best on the assets that you've been working with. We've been marking assets for years now and performing tests and real-world experience with how they perform in these environments, and we can leverage that experience to support you in your success, in your operations. It takes out all the guesswork of you having to think about what kind of tags you may need in your operation. We would then work with you to confirm the bill of material and how all those pieces come together and how they meet your budgets that you may have in place to support this deployment. And once you're comfortable with whatever that bill of material looks like and that we know that we can succeed on your behalf, then we move to the implementation stage. And that involves certified professional RFID implementers to both put the technology in on site, to train your personnel on how to use it, and also to train your IT department or whoever's going to be responsible from an administrator standpoint. Anything you would add, Bob or Daryl, to this?
During the implementation phase or the discovery phase, or in a combination of both, yeah, I mean, we map out, where our readers would go, where the antennas would be mounted. We understand the problem in person. We start to put together the entire package, whether it's just could only be a mobile solution, to really drive down the cost and really be a stepping stone into using RFID. But my point is, we really, as you mentioned, we're real involved, and you get something out of the time. You learn a lot.
Yeah, and the findings report, as Pete said, it's going to, detail out what the solution is going to look like. So, through conversation and review of that, between your company and A2B, we can really assess and determine, hey, this is really going to deliver the capability and functionality that's going to be required to bring improvements or solve the problems that you're trying to solve. And the findings report and the solution design is yours to keep and to do with what you will at that point. So it's definitely worth the time to go down that road.
And I'm going to echo what Bob said too there, Daryl, which is that if you're going for mobile only and you're not ready to take the step into putting RFID fixed infrastructure in place, antennas and readers, and you want to just start with mobile, that actually wouldn't necessarily require a site visit very often, where we can recommend tag types, recommend the readers, and share with you the expected performance that you'll get without actually having to step foot on site. And that can get you out of the gates into leveraging RFID in a very accessible, cloud-based, with hardware connectivity in a very simple, easy kind of deployment. So I should reiterate that as well.
That's right.
Very good.
So we're going to wrap it up here with a couple of questions that could be coming our way from the audience members. So we'll open it up for anybody who has a question. I should mention you should use the chat window here, in the chat window within your GoToMeeting console, and you can type in the question and it'll come directly across to us. Ask away any questions you may have along the way here. A little bit about A2B, the fact sheet. We shared with you that we're a company established from the early 1990s. We've worked with many commercial organizations and military organizations, been pioneering this tracking technology for over 20 years. And we've deployed millions of labels and even manufactured millions of asset tags and labels to support these kind of deployments. You can see how many seek and apply marking teams we've deployed even to military bases around the globe. And at the core of this is the common thread of our UC Web software, which is the cloud accessible software that makes it all come together, where good data is collected and gets provided downstream to those systems or to the people who need to report against it. So let's go into some questions. Take a look at what we have here. Question number one is there a cost to a site visit? Daryl, if you care to comment on that.
Yeah, there is a cost associated to the site visit to cover the work that's actually going to be done on site, as well as the deliverable, which takes depending on the size of the project, can take a fair amount of time to put together, and then there's also travel costs. So yes, there is a cost associated with the site visit, but that site to visit cost is credited if you do go ahead and purchase a full solution from A2B. You'd be credited for the cost of that visit.
Yeah, and those costs are nominal up front. They're just to cover a few of our costs to get out of the gates and get on site to your facility, and to provide you a very robust findings report as well.
Right, and you're going to get a good real life look at what solving your problem or or the goals that you have, what it looks like, and again, the findings report is going to detail all of that out. And that information is yours to keep, even if it's just a learning exercise that, hey, maybe we're not going to get as much benefit out of this type of solution as I thought we were, or, you're going to get a rough order of magnitude as well, or, hey, this is, I can control what the costs look like here, so maybe we're going to do this for a year or two. Then I can see it, down the road we move on and we implement more fixed infrastructure in another part of the facility or in another facility. So, you can kind of walk before you run. You can really control costs, feel and see the value as you continue to evolve your solution set. So that's how we like to look at it.
Another question here that we have is, what's the typical length of an implementation?
Yeah, length of implementation, again, I wish there was a nice, quick, easy, canned answer there, but, like if it's just a mobile solution, as Bob said, it's very, very quick. We can turn that around in, within a week or two. If it's more involved and it's going to involve a fair amount of fixed infrastructure, well, then you got site visits to plan, you got findings reports to get crafted and reviewed, and then if we move forward and there is a fair amount of equipment to be installed, and then the training that's involved, and the acquisition of the right tags for the project. So, if it involves fixed hardware, once on site to start the implementation, it could take anywhere from a week to, say, a month.
And a month would be a pretty involved project, though. I might add. You've got a lot of fixed infrastructure that would have to go on on site there. So. Good. That's helpful. Well, listen, we're going to actually wrap it up here due to the amount of time that we're trying to stick to and commit to. I want to thank everyone for being here and in attendance.